Hey, good morning, Stewart's Chapel. Brother Don Pierson here in Don Counson. We're here at the church's office, and this is Thursday's devotion, and we're in James chapter 2, verses 6 through 9, and I want to share with you today in this devotion that honoring is loving. Honoring is loving. But you have dishonored the poor. You have dishonored the poor man. Do not the rich oppress you and drag you into the courts? If I just stop there and would like to say that the way he addresses it is like if you're gonna dishonor somebody, you ought to be dishonoring the rich. They're the ones who oppress you. That would make more sense. But that's not really what he is saying. Basically saying there's no reason for you to be dishonoring anyone. In other words, you're not the rich. You yourself are like the ones you're dishonoring. Do they not blaspheme, talking about the rich, that noble name by which you are called, which is the name of Christ? They blaspheme the name of Christ. If you really fulfill the royal law according to the Scripture, you shall love your neighbor as yourself, you will do well. But if you show partiality, you commit sin and are convicted by the law as transgressors. He starts this section about how they're dishonoring the poor man. We live in an age right now where honoring and respecting others is at a very low level. There is no respect for the police department, police officers, for military, for those in power. There's no respect for the position. I grew up in a very different situation. No, my parents didn't become believers until later in their life. I grew up in an atmosphere that you honor and respected others. You know, the Bible calls constantly out, especially the New Testament, for us to honor and show respect to one another. You see, we live, though, in a society that believes that respect has to be earned. Well, the truth is, as a Christian, you show respect and honor because it's commanded. It's commanded. It doesn't matter whether the person deserves it or not. You honor it by honoring God. You see, when you're commanded to do something by God and you don't do it, then you dishonor God. You disrespect God. And so when God tells us to honor and respect those that are over us in authority, whether it be parents, whether it be a minister, whether it be a police officer, whoever it is that is over us, or a boss, a supervisor, when we choose not to honor them and disrespect them, then we are disrespecting God. Now, the argument here, though, is God's almost scratching his head. He said, it just doesn't make any sense for you to be doing what you're doing. The ones you're dishonoring are the ones who are like you. Everybody else is dishonoring the name of Christ. You're supposed to honor the name of Christ by your life and by the way you treat those. Love your neighbor, and you will do well. Love your neighbor. Evidently, these individuals in James, as we have seen, had a really, really hard time at treating others fairly. Love honors. Love you, Stewart's Chapel.